All right, family, what's going on? Give me 1 second. 1 second. I hope you're doing well. Let me share my screen with you. 1 second. 1 second. Can you hear me? All right, I think we're good. Come on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Marsha, for letting me know. All right, just had to do something real quick and we should be good. I'll put on my camera in just a second. All right, here we go. Okay, cool. Welcome, 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 everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Financial Church. This Sunday, what is it, July 5th? July 5th? I see you, Andrea, and Jeanette, Deirdre, Dottie, Gwen, Jacqueline, Janine, Jim, John, Catherine, Marsha, Annette, Rosemary, Tamiko, Teresa, Tafaria, Tiffany, Deshaun, Valerie, Vonnie, folks coming on in. It's good to see you here. Sorry for the little delay. I got some construction going on at the house, and yeah, so a little bit behind schedule, but all is well. We are doing our monthly accounting. I did want to do the imagination teaching today as a result of other people's Independence Day yesterday, but we need to stay on ritual since that is not our holiday schedule. And excuse the noise in the background if you hear any construction. Since that is not our holiday schedule, I'm going to stick to our rituals. I'm not focused on anybody else's rituals right now or ever. So I don't know about you all, but I did not celebrate anything yesterday. My Independence Day was January 9th, 2009. That's when I quit my job, left the corporate plantation. And then from there, I've been achieving more and more freedom ever since then. So if you, in chat, let me know. If you had your Independence Day, please let me know when your Independence Day was. If you had your Independence Day. For most of us, it's not July 4th. And if you plan on having an Independence Day, creating your own Independence Day, please let me know in chat when you want that day to be. Put the day, the month, day, and year. Put the month, day, and year. Okay. Dottie is an entrepreneur. Hers was February 28th, 2016. Okay, that's when her Independence Day is. That's when she should turn up. That's when she should barbecue. Okay, not on July 4th. Okay, there was still a lot of enslaved folks here on July 4th. Right. Teresa says January 9th, 2024. Christopher says June 20th, 2022. John says June 1st, 2022. So a lot of people, what is that? June 1st, 2022. So a lot of y'all are saying I'm 2 years away. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. All right. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. If you don't have a date starts to anchor you in your plan, and it starts to focus your subconscious mind on a particular target, and you'll start to see and notice your behavior starts to move towards actualizing this on that particular date. All right. So you can create the date. Here's what I've learned about timelines, y'all. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions and the goals are completed by a year, things of that nature. But every goal has its own timeline. So for instance, if you make your date too aggressive, then it's actually going to overwhelm you and cause worry, okay? But if you make your date too far out, then you'll continue to push it out and further and like, oh, that's way out. That's 2025. I'll get to that. I'll start on it later. So one of the keys to setting these intentions and manifestation is actually setting an internal timeline for yourself, but then also releasing the timeline, because we know that God can move like that. Okay, we know that God can move like that, and God moves according to our belief. But as you do the old traditional goal setting and you still choose to put a date on something, don't make it too close that you get overwhelmed and fear, doubt, and worry start to emerge, because fear, doubt, and worry go against, right? They are incongruent with a belief, right? And then when it's too far out, you can believe you will make it by that date and time, but it's not near enough for you to take action, right? And faith without works is dead. So this is really important for you to really find that balance between not too near and not too far, but just somewhere in between that's actually going to get you into action. Does that make sense for everyone? Is that clear? Okay, good, good, good. So you all know what today is. Today is our monthly accounting. I'm going to share my screen right now. Share. And this is our monthly ritual that we do to really see and track the growth of our net worth and our cash flow, okay? In the Bible, there is often talk about watchtowers, and being, those watchtowers are really the metaphysical interpretation of being mindful, overseeing your own affairs. And so this is a ritual that we do to observe, okay? To observe from a higher place what is happening in our financial life. And our financial life is often in parallel with the frequency that we're vibrating at. It's in parallel with the other areas of our life, right? So if I'm resonating high in one area of my life, then it tends to translate into the other areas of my life. In our financial life, because it's so measurable, it's a good indicator, okay? We do not put our worth and our value totally in money whatsoever, okay? We know that that is just green paper, okay? You might have seen it on Instagram this week. I said that material wealth, right, or financial wealth is how much you have received by the time you die, okay? Financial wealth is how much you've received by the time you die. But true wealth is how much you give with the time you are alive, right? I'll repeat that. Financial wealth, which is the scoreboard that a lot of people play by when they make God their money, or money their God, excuse me, or same thing, right? When people play by that scoreboard, they're running to see how much they can store up by the time that they die. To be honest, with the exception of having resource to pass down and assets to pass down to my daughter, I don't really care how much I have at the moment I die. Because we all know what, y'all? We all know what about death and money. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. And so what I want, and where true wealth truly comes from, as we bring heaven on earth, right? Heaven being in the mind, on earth, which is the manifestation. True wealth is actually how much you give, okay, with the time that you're alive. And the reason that we need money here on earth is so that we can give more. We don't receive money just for the sake of receiving it and just to say that I have a lot in my account. That is not the intention of money. It is not, okay? It is so that we can give more, create more, manifest more, and do more of God's work here on earth, okay? So that's how I perceive money. And again, everything that I teach here is my beliefs, and it's done into you as you believe, all right? So if something resonates with you, then try to integrate it into your life. If it doesn't resonate with you, then let it go. But there will be something here tonight or today that resonates with you, all right? Y'all with me on that? So, babe, close that door for me. Close the door behind you. You want to say hi? Jada wants to say hi. Are you going to speak? She's eating a popsicle that we made. It's all fruit, all natural. All right, baby. I'll talk to you in a second. Love you. All right. So, cool. So, in chat, please let me know if you are a first timer or if you're a vet. Type new if you're new. Type vet if you're a vet. Close that door for me, babe. So we got a lot of vets. I see Tiffany. I think Tiffany said she's new. Tafara said she's new. All right, we got a lot of vets here today, and that's okay. That's good. People returning, continuing to come back to this methodology and this process. Okay, good. So Carmelita says she on the usher board, y'all. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So Financial spirituality, how do we define that here, or how do I define it? Financial spirituality is the practice of mastering manifestation and money by learning how God creates and using the power of your mind, imagination, prayers, words, and works to bring heaven, which is the mind, on earth, which is the material experience, so that we may have life and have it more abundantly. That's what Jesus said, okay? We must know that we are all already manifesting in every single moment. The life that you're experiencing right now, you manifested it. If you believe that it was the white man who caused me not to be able to do this, or my mom, or this event, or this guy did this to me, or this person did this to me, or the police, etc., then we are giving up our power anytime we blame. Now, I'm not negating that there may be factors and energies and entities out there that may be obstacles to you manifesting. But the greatest obstacle we know is where, y'all? The greatest obstacle we know is where? It's in our own minds. It's in our own minds. I'm not negating that there are forces, racism, sexism, etc., that are out there that are in your way of you being able to live life to the fullest. But the greatest obstacle is actually within our own minds. All right. And that's what we accept here, because if we blame, we are giving up our power. If we blame, we are giving up our power. And we're saying that this institution, this individual, this entity has power over me. And unless they change, unless the US government changes, like, what do I look like walking around as a God on earth, right? Lowercase g. What do I look like walking around saying, man, I need Trump to change to be happy. I need the government to change to be happy. I need white people to change to be happy. I need this person in my life to change to be happy. I need my mom to change to be happy. I need my boss to change in order for me to be happy. What do I look like? That's victim consciousness. That's victim consciousness. Now, if those entities and individuals change and it creates more freedom for us to be who we truly are, then great. But we aren't going to wait in victim consciousness hoping that somebody else changes to create more space and create more freedom and create more manifestation in our lives. Are we clear on that? So we're not ignoring the outside, okay? But based on what we shared with the obstacle course is some of those factors we actually created for ourselves prior to stepping into the flesh, right? To challenge ourselves, okay? We, for those of us who are people of color here, we said, look, put me in dark skin, put me in the hood, put me in the worst school system, put me in a food desert, put me there with no money, put me there with no inheritance, put me there with no dad, put me there with crooked cops, put me there and watch me win, okay? This is just a video game. We are avatars. The life that you're living, the character that you're living is the avatar, okay? And we chose the hardest level. So if you are struggling, you feel like, you know, a lot of people say the struggle is real. We don't say that here. We don't say that here. We know that the challenge is real. The challenge is real, but the strength that we need to overcome that challenge is what's really real. That's the only reason the struggle really exists, is for us to get stronger, right? We don't make excuses. We get better. We don't make excuses. We just get better. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just going to get better. That's it. All right. So that's a huge responsibility for folks to take. And it's way easier to blame. It is way easier to stay in victim consciousness and blame and blame and blame. But we will never get what we want that way. We will never, ever get what we want that way. You waiting for your mom or your dad to change? It's not going to happen. They have experienced 70 years of being that way. 30 to 40 years before you were even born, they were already programmed in that way. And you waiting for them to change for you to be healed and happy? Do we want to create space for them to change? Yes. But that's not where our true source of joy is going to come from. And their behavior and their actions, and I'm speaking to myself as well, don't actually affect our happiness. We get to choose our happiness. We get to choose our joy. And for me, joy is actually higher than happiness. Joy is actually higher than happiness. Happiness, if you look at the root word of happy, hap, Happy is based on what happens externally. Happiness is based on what happens externally. Joy actually comes from within. So regardless of external circumstances, I can still be in the midst of joy. This is why I do love the hashtag Black Boy Joy. I know there's Black Girl Magic hashtag and there's a Black Boy Joy. I love the Black Boy Joy hashtag because it represents how I feel when I'm at my core. Baby, I haven't figured that out, baby. I can't, no, put that down. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I value, if I had to choose between joy and happiness, I'm choosing joy. Okay, because if I stay in a space of joy, then guess what? Happiness is definitely going to come. It's definitely going to come. Go put that in the freezer. Go put that in the freezer. No, thank you. Go put that in the freezer. Go put that in the freezer. Your ice cream in the freezer. All right, cool. This is family life, y'all. So, we believe here that the Bible is the richest book ever. It is still the test of time. There's a wealth of wisdom in there. The stories are so archetypal that they resonate at all different times, all different periods. You can find yourself in a particular character, in a particular book, in a particular scripture. And there has not been another book that actually can speak to people over millennia in the way that this book has been able to. And so, yes, has it been remixed? Has it been edited? Has it been translated? Has it lost its true core meaning in many ways? Yes. But when we read with our third eye, we can see through a lot of the BS and the fluff, and still catch the frequency of that of the core message and the true message that is there. Okay. So we also here honor Jesus as one of the richest men, if not the richest man, to man, not in terms of gender, okay, as in terms of a human being, to ever walk the face of the earth. Of course, he didn't need to hold it as money, okay? Satan, the devil, which was actually inside of him, okay, when he was being tempted, was no external entity that was taking him up on the mountain or taking him up on the top of the temple or anything like that. This was his own mind speaking to him, his own base self, okay? And every day we are choosing between our base self and our best self. Our base self is hellish. Our best self is heavenly. Our base self is Satan. Our best self is God. Okay. And so all of these conversations, when we read the Bible from a metaphysical standpoint, all of this stuff and all of these characters are happening actually in our own mind, right? How many of you have ever been in a Job? How many of you may have felt like Job, but how many of you ever just had a Job space in your life? How many of you ever had a Job space in your life? Okay. You may not have been down and out totally and just and from a fully external standpoint, but from a perspective of being down on yourself, thinking everything is against you. Why me? We've all had a Job space in our life, okay? And guess what? In the same way, you are also having your own resurrection story. You are also having your elevation into Christ consciousness story. You will all be resurrected because you are seekers. You wouldn't be here if you weren't seekers, right? And so you will all have your own resurrection. So this is what makes this book so beautiful, is that we can find ourselves in all the stories and all the characters. We've all had our David and Goliath moment in our life. Okay. So this is what's so beautiful about this particular book and why we rely on it so heavily and heavenly. This does not negate any other spiritual text that is out there. Okay. I have not delved or been given the eyes to see what I've been able to see in the Bible. I've not been able to get that kind of vision and clarity in other texts, but it's not negating other texts and the richness that is also there. Okay. All right. So moving forward, some of the belief statements that we have here are as follows. I believe that as a child of God, I have access to everything that is in God's will for me to have. I will receive it when I'm ready. Okay. Then I seek first the kingdom of God, knowing that all the things I need will be added unto me. I am about my mother and father's business. And when I am, actually mother, father as one entity, okay, not as two separate entities. Obviously, the Bible uses father a lot, but in Hebrew, there's no pronoun, there's no neutered pronoun, okay? So their author, particularly Moses, used him or he because that was his own gender. Okay? And when I am, I will have life and have it more abundantly. I believe that I'm here to manifest the divine ideas planted in the heaven of my mind, right? On earth. We are actually meant to bring heaven on earth. That's what we are doing. Okay. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is neither here nor there. It is in your midst. It is right here and right now. It's not some place you go to after you die, y'all. And I know I may be redundant, especially with so many of you being vets that are here today. But the programming that we've had from when we were little, the opposite was repeated so many times. So I'm going to continue to repeat myself. Okay. We talked about the word repetition. I have to continue to I am in your life to continue to repetition your mind to move and think in a different way about who it is in relationship to God, so that you know who you are in God and who God is in you. And if I repetition you enough, right, and you accept it and your mind is open, then eventually your belief will change. We will wash out that old idea that may have been true for you then, but was at a lower level of consciousness. And I'll give you an example. Like my daughter, you saw her here. There are times at this stage of her life, I have to tell her, don't play with fire, right? Don't play with fire. She's 5 years old. But there will be another stage of life where I have to tell her, babe, you have to learn how to work with fire so that you can cook. Okay? So a rule or a saying or a way of being at one stage of life may have been perfect for that stage of life. For those of you who have taken on religious identities, you claim a specific religion or whatnot, that may be perfect for where you are in your spiritual journey. But there may come a point, may or may not, okay, I don't know what your path is, but there may come a point where having an identity and identifying as a particular religion or belief system actually you may realize it's cutting off your relationship from your creator and from your source, and therefore you let it go and you elevate to something else. Okay, so here we focus on relationship more than religion. If religion and the rituals in it are supporting your relationship, then go for it. But if at any point the religion is actually cutting you off from your creator and your source, then we have to let certain elements of it go. Okay, and we have to focus on the relationship. Because before there was ever religion, what was there, y'all? Before there was ever religion, what was there? There was a relationship. That's it. Mother, father, and child of God. That's it. That's what existed. Before there was any religion and, oh, this religion's right, this one's wrong, there was a relationship. Okay? And for those of you who have siblings, you know this to be true. How many of you have different relationships with your parents than your other siblings? How many of you have different relationships with your parents? You notice that each child has their own relationship with the mother, father. How many of you have different relationships with your parents? All unique. Marsha said it. Everyone is unique. There's no one way to relate to the mother and father. It is based on your specific relationship. Okay? So this is what we focus on here. All right? And then finally, I believe that there is more than enough, that I have more than enough, and that I am more than enough, for God is the infinite source of my supply. All right? So here we focus on the breath. Genesis 2:7 says, then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, man being mankind, from the dust of the ground, and breathed into its nostrils and the breath of life, and the man became a living being. And so here we recognize that the breath is actually one of our key connections to our source. And so we open up by taking deep breath, okay? Our breath, we recognize that we are being breathed through, but none of us can stop our breath unless we decide to commit suicide, right? But beyond that, we cannot stop our breath, which means that there has to be some sort of other living entity outside of us that's actually breathing through us, and that we are just vehicles, right? We are being used and guided by a higher level of consciousness, a thing unseen, the unseen. We can't touch what's breathing through us, but we know that something is, because the breath is the only thing that we cannot actually stop, right? So You can try for 30 seconds. You may be able to hold your breath for 2 minutes, but guess what? It's going to come out. That air is going to come out, right? Or it's going to come in. So let's take a moment to take 3 deep breaths, all right? 4 seconds in, hold for a second, 5 seconds out. Beautiful. So here we in heaven and we exhale. We in heaven and we exhale. Okay. So every month we come back to this question, and this is for all the folks who are new. All right. Who wants to be a millionaire? Who wants to be a millionaire? Veterans, keep quiet on this one, right? Who wants to be a millionaire? Teresa wants to be a millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire? Tafara said, I do not want to be a millionaire. What you want to be, Tafara? Lisa said, I want to be a millionaire. Cynthia says, I want to be a millionaire. Zakia says, I want to be a millionaire. Okay. Well, pentamillionaire. Okay. Infinitely abundant. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So here we know that there is something off with the word want. Psalm 23:1 says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. So if we don't want to be a millionaire, if we shouldn't be in the space of wanting, then we actually have to make millionaire our identity. Because if you could keep repeating over and over that I want to be a millionaire, then that's what you're affirming to the universe, right? To God, and you will stay in a space of wanting to be a millionaire. Okay. So we focus on identity here. And rather than saying I want to be a millionaire, we bring it from the future to the present moment and say, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire, okay? And we know that you must become a multimillionaire because first you become a millionaire in your mind, and then you become one with your money. First, you become a millionaire with your mind, and then you become one with your money, okay? We know that just like this redwood cone, this entire redwood tree is already inside the cone. You can't see it. You can't see it, but the entire redwood tree is already in there. So guess what? The millionaire is already inside of you. If that desire and that seed got planted in your mind through a book, through a conversation, through something you saw, through just a deep down belief, through inspiration, that that's possible for me, then we know that it is within you, even if it has not externally manifested yet. Okay, that huge redwood tree that these kids can barely put their arms, can't even put their arms around, all started from this little redwood cone. Okay, so I don't care how much money is in your bank account right now. That is insignificant and irrelevant to our conversation here. We don't look at our current conditions and circumstances and let that dictate who we are. We create our environment. Our environment does not create us. We are not products of our environment here. We know that our true identity and our one identity that is higher than all, that never ever changes, is the fact that we are children of God. You can change my race. You can change my gender. You can change my religion. You can change my job. You can change my marital status. You could change how many kids I have. You could change my nationality. You can change my social class. You could change my education level. You can change all that. But the one thing that never, ever changes is the fact that we are all children of God. So that is the only source of identity that we should actually rest on, because it's the only one that never changes. It's the only one that never changes. Now, I'm not saying that you don't wear different hats, but when we look at our pyramid and our hierarchy of priorities in terms of our identity, the one that is at the peak for me, the one that trumps me being black, the one that trumps me being a man, right? The one that trumps me being heterosexual, okay? The one that trumps the one that trumps me being a father, right? It's that I'm a child of God, first and foremost, okay? And I have a particular order of priorities in terms of my identity where all those other things fall. And the reason this is so important is because you cannot serve two masters. So if you do have multiple masters, then you have to know which one is actually higher. When I think the Pharisees or the Sadducees tried to check Jesus, said, and say something about taxes, he said, give Caesar what Caesar is due and give God what God is due. He didn't say that you screw Caesar and just serve God. He said, no, know your priorities. You give God what God is due, and then you give Caesar what Caesar is due. That's what he said, okay? So you have to know the prioritization of the various things in your life. There are some people who are, I'm Christian above everything, then I'm a woman, and then I'm black. There's some people who I'm black, I'm a woman, and I'm Christian, right? So you have to know the prioritization of your identity so that when you are making tough decisions or choices, you know which level of consciousness to consult first. Which level of consciousness to consult first. And it should always be top down, right? If you're consulting your gender for a decision that is actually related to your identity as a child of God, you will be caught up in making the wrong decision. So we always want to go from top down with our decision making as opposed to bottom up. Does that make sense? All right. So this is just a reminder that we have a blank check when it comes to God. We have a blank check. Mark 10:51, it says, what do you want? Jesus said, what do you want from me? What do you want for me to do for you? Jesus asked him. The blind man said, Rabbi, I want to see. Okay. So God, the Father, Mother, is ready to pour into you at all times. The only thing that is blocking you from receiving the abundance that you truly deserve and desire is yourself. That's the only thing. As a father to a daughter, what do they call it? Girl dad, something like that. I will give her absolutely anything. I will give her absolutely anything. And so if I'm willing to do that for my daughter, and God's love is thousands or even millions times greater than mine, then our Mother, Father, God, who art in heaven, is actually willing and ready to give us everything that we desire and ask for. But if we ask for it with disbelief, doubt, and worry that the Mother, Father, God will actually supply and that it will deliver, then we start to uproot our ask immediately. A lot of us ask and then we uproot right away. When we are actually meant to ask and have faith that it will come. And this is where we actually release our timeline. We can say we want something by June 2022, but God doesn't operate on a timeline. God does not operate on a timeline. The whole 7 days, 1 day, 2 days, God created the world, that was not a timeline or the context of a week in human time. God can manifest something over millennia, over billions of years, or God can manifest something instantaneously if it desires. But what determines, in chat, please let me know what determines how quickly something manifests, y'all. John said it. It's our faith and belief in it. It's our faith and belief. And one more thing, our faith and belief, and this is the challenging one for a lot of us who are here, our readiness to receive it. Our readiness to receive it. Some of us are just not ready to receive it. And our Mother, Father, God knows us well enough to say, I know you want that right now, but I can't give that to you right now because you do not know how to take care of it. That's like giving the car keys to a 10-year-old. That's like giving the car keys to a 10-year-old. They At some point, they will be ready to receive it. But at the age of 10, they're not ready to receive the car keys. Now, are there things that you can do to accelerate that process? Yes, we've talked about that in previous teachings in terms of how to increase our readiness to receive, right? But faith in combination with readiness to receive. You think you're ready for it right now. You think you're ready for that husband. You think you're ready for $1 million. You think you're ready for that new role, etc. And you have to know that your mother, father, God knows when to open that door for you. Because some of you think you're ready for things, myself included. Remember, I'm always speaking to myself here, y'all. Okay. We think we're ready for something, and we ask and we ask, and we ask fervently. And God's like, all right, you really think you're ready? I'm going to show you. Here you go. And then what happens when we get it before we're actually ready? We mess it up. We fumble. We realize we make immature decisions because we actually weren't ready for that thing. So we have to trust Mother, Father, God's timeline. And again, Mother, Father, God doesn't actually operate on time. We have to know that Mother, Father, God is always willing and ready to give to us, and it will give to us when we are ready, when it knows that we are ready to receive. Okay? Not on a timeline. It's not like, oh, you got to go through 12 years of this before I give this to you, or you need 6 months of this, like a job. You need 3 months probation before that's not, God doesn't operate in that way. Okay? It does not operate that way. But your readiness is essential to receiving. And the reason I said this is that a lot of us here are givers. We're great givers. And this is actually why we want more wealth in our life, is so that we could give more. And what's prevented us from giving at the level that we truly desire is that many of us just don't know how to receive yet. We haven't learned how to receive. We're great at giving, but we give in such a way that actually depletes us, leaves us burned out, leaves us empty. And it looks sacrificial because that's the narrative that they painted of Jesus, as this sacrificial lamb, right? And we think that is the way to operate, but we are actually meant to give sustainably, give more and more sustainably and abundantly and more freely. Okay? The reason God keeps sending money to me and through me is because it knows that it's the buck does not stop here. The buck does not stop here. You heard that saying, the buck stops here? No, the buck does not stop here. It knows that. It knows that if I receive economic resource, stored energy, that it's not just going to go into a savings account and do nothing, that I'm going to transmute that stored energy into the greatest good possible for all by investing it in ideals, ideas, individuals, and institutions that I know and believe are doing good or God's work. This is why. So my net worth and my balance sheet, which we're going to get to in a second, actually doesn't dictate the amount of good that I've done in the world. Because what we can't account for is actually how much I've given. Like if I had Jeff Bezos' money right now, I would be, I'll tell you this, because I've been able to see and experience some very nice numbers. When you start to see commas in your bank account, for me, who's not a hoarder of money, my immediate thing is, how do I use this? You almost, it's this weird thing when you see wealth in this way, you're like, oh, I actually don't want that. That's actually not what's fulfilling. Dang, I've been blessed with all this. How do I now put that energy back into the world? The more energy that stores up in the account, the more anxiety a lot of people get. Because they know it's supposed to be, they really deep down inside know that it's supposed to be used. That money is useless unless you use it. But there's some people who are so fear-based that even if they've amassed wealth, they find their security in the size of the number in their account. But You want to know the guaranteed way that you never lose money? You want to know the guaranteed way that you never ever lose money, y'all? Anybody know? The guaranteed way. Tiffany got it. If I give it, then I can never lose it. If I give it, I can never lose it. It has already been transmuted. I'm very mindful of my word, y'all, but you gonna come rob me? What you gonna rob? All my money is out there in the world. You go try to find it. I've already transmuted it. Here, what you want my wallet? Here. Here you go. I have wealth consciousness, but you can't rob a wealth consciousness. Now, if I had money saved up in a safe somewhere and under my mattress and this and that, yeah, you could come rob me and then I'll feel like I lost something. But if I've already given it and I've already transmuted it into something else, what you here to rob? There's nothing here to rob. So you want to rob my wealth consciousness? Then buy my book. You want to rob my wealth consciousness? Then come to Financial Church. You want to rob my wealth consciousness? Come to my Wealth and Real Estate Weekend. You want to rob my wealth consciousness? Join the multifamily movement. You want to rob my wealth consciousness? You want to steal my wealth? Then you might want to get what's up here, not what's in my pocket. You might want to get what's up here, not what's in my pocket. Because if you have what's up here, then you will never have to come after my pocket or anybody else's pockets ever again. You see what I'm saying, y'all? We got this joint backwards, but you only rob and steal when you're in scarcity consciousness. When you're in lack, when you're in worry, when you're in doubt, when you're in fear. That's the only time you really have to rob and steal. And there's people who play at a high level of robbery. We've seen it in our government. We see governments rob all the time, right? They may still have a lot of money that they've stolen, but it was still all out of fear, doubt, and in a scarcity mindset. This idea that there was not enough. All right? So this is what we teach here, y'all. Just want to remind you that there are 7 types of millionaires. Okay, there's earned a millionaire. Okay, and that's from a job. And the reality is that everybody here will be an earned a millionaire. $40,000 a year times $25,000 a year times 40 years is $1 million. So almost everybody here, if they work for 40 years at minimum wage, is going to be an earned a millionaire. But we know that that's not wealth. Then there's home equity millionaire. What was the statistic? About 68% of Americans' wealth is actually locked up in their home, in their single family residence as equity, all right? I posted on my Instagram this week about how FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, actually had clauses in deeds that homes could not be sold to Blacks in this country as they were building these Levitt towns, or 15,000 properties outside of the city and starting to lay out the American dream. And that robbed us of so much wealth, y'all. That robbed us of so much wealth, because those homes are now worth $300,000 more than they were at that time, right? Or more. And that wealth gets transferred on from generation to generation. And so that's home equity millionaire. If you don't know how to use it, then it's just stuck in the walls. And in the multifamily movement, we teach you how to use that equity. Then there's paper equity millionaire, okay? Paper equity millionaire, and that is with stocks. But the stocks are, as you can see, are very volatile, and you have no control over them. So you're really playing roulette. Some people say, oh, I'm good at stocks, this and that. You got to know when to pull out. You got to know what to invest in. And because you can never have perfect information on a company, I don't tend to play that game, okay? Then there's cash savings millionaire. This is the one that a lot of people visualize, which is, and we're going to visualize this later on as we close. Cash savings millionaire is the millionaire who has 2 commas in their bank account. Like, they open up their bank account and they see 2 commas. And I think that's the millionaire that a lot of people have in their head, is like, oh yeah, I got $1 million in my bank account. If you have $1 million in your bank account, I want to bless you and say congratulations, but now it's time to employ that money at the highest level possible. Okay. Then there's company or job revenue millionaire. So now you have actually an asset, a business that is, you're either entrepreneur, self-employed, or you have a job that is producing $1 million. there's very few jobs that produce $1 million a year unless you are C-level at a Fortune 500 company with bonuses. But getting a company as self-employed, getting a company to $1 million, that's very doable. Okay. Then a lot of people boast about their revenues online, but what you really want is you want profit. Okay. So what is a company profiting $1 million look like? Their revenues actually may be 5 million, but their profits, or they have a 20% profit margin. So their profits are $1 million. Okay. And then ultimately we want asset generating millionaire. This means that the assets that you have, the real estate, the companies that you own, etc., are producing $1 million per year, whether you trade time for money or not. You can still have active income and get paid nicely, but when your assets are generating $1 million, then what is that? 100,000 a month. Your assets alone are doing that. This is what we're really talking. All right. So I just want to be clear on that as we go forward. All right. In Luke 16, 1 through 2, Jesus told the disciples there was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in and asked him, "What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management." Give an account of your management. So this is really important because of all the resources that we have and have been given, we must give an account. When we transition from this body onto whatever's next, we must give an account of how we use the resources that we have. So I'll give you the types of capital we have. We all have personal capital. That's our gifts, our talents, and our strengths. Our gifts, our talents, and our strengths, right? Then we have our intellectual capital. That is what we know. That is our skill sets, right? Or subject mastery. You either mastered a skill or a subject, okay? Some of us were blessed with those things and they just came naturally to us, and we're great at, some of you great at cooking, some of you great at speaking, some of you great at writing, some of you great at healing, some of you great at running teams, some of you are great at marketing. Like, we all have a skill set that just comes naturally to us that we still need to practice and keep on to get to mastery. Mastery never stops, right? Mastery never stops. Then there is social capital. These are the relationships. Some of you are born into families with wealth, etc. Some of you are just great with people and you built networks through school and through jobs and through clients and things of that nature, through church. And then you have your physical capital, which is real estate, any physical assets that you have. Then you have your human capital, which is your time, right? So we all have human capital for still here breathing. And then you have your financial capital, which is your money, okay? So there are these various capitals that we have been blessed with, and we must give an account of how we've used them over the course of our life. We must give an account of how we've used them over the course of our life. And so this is really, really important. And in Proverbs 46:10, it says, "Be still and know that I'm God." Okay. So we yield, we stop, we pause, and we surrender, then to increase our yield, which is the production in our fruits. So this first Sunday of every single month, or the closest Sunday to the beginning of the month, is when we be still and we know that God is God, and we observe how we have, whether or not we've been good stewards of the capital that we've been blessed with, okay? The last capital is financial capital, all right? So why do we do monthly accounting? I want to be very clear. This is not about shame. This is not to judge ourselves, okay? And this is not to focus on the past. The life that you're experiencing today comes from where, y'all? The life that you're experiencing today comes from where? Did it come from who you are today? It came from thoughts that you seed thoughts that you planted in the past. So even though you've evolved and changed today on July 5th, your experience that you're having is not based on actually who you are today. The experience that you're having is actually based on seeds that you planted in the past. So therefore, we do not judge our experience today as if it is based on who we are today. As long as who we are today has evolved and is ahead of and is at a higher level of consciousness than who we were yesterday, then we know that soon come, The fruits that we are going to be experiencing from who we are today are going to have to unfold. One moment, y'all. That's a construction, sorry. All right. So this is why we do not judge ourselves. We do not judge ourselves as we look at our numbers, okay? These numbers are just reflective of who we were in the past, and all we're doing is seeking to grow. I don't care if you went from -3 to -1. If you're negative and you made progress, that's all that matters. Every single month, we are just seeking to grow. That is it, all right? We're also not comparing. I don't ask people to share their numbers here. We're not comparing against each other. We are only comparing ourselves to who we were last month. That's it. And if we continue to grow every single month, we are going to eventually, we are moving into wealth consciousness now, and then our life is going to have to reflect the consciousness that we're at. We're moving into consciousness now, and then our external experience will have to reflect what's happening. As a man or woman thinketh, so is he, so is she, okay? So the reason we do this is to observe the fruits or results of our old thinking, to see what is and seek ways to be better stewards of that which we've already been given. We're trying to plug the leaks, stop the hoarding, and figure out what our new resources are and how to use them. We are here to celebrate any growth, and we are here to weed out anything that is restricting growth and prune to facilitate new growth. What's PWWP, y'all? How do we manifest? What is PWWP? What is our role in manifestation? We actually don't do the manifesting. We don't do the manifesting. Jesus said of myself, I can do nothing, right? There we go. Teresa says plant, water, weed, and prune. Look at this, y'all. A farmer does not know how to put an apple tree together. A farmer cannot produce an apple. A farmer creates the conditions of success for an apple to grow. God does the rest. A woman, as beautiful and amazing as all of you are who are here, a woman does not know how to make a baby. A woman does not know how to make a leg, make an arm, make a brain, make a nose. But a woman, her womb, the womb man, actually creates the conditions for success for that baby to come to be. But a woman herself does not actually know how to piece a baby together, okay? But she holds the space and creates the condition, right? Through how she's doing emotionally, through what she's eating, through exercise, through rest. She creates conditions for that baby to be born healthy. So we have to recognize that, and oftentimes what happens is here's when ego taps in. Ego will have you thinking that you did it. Ego will have you thinking that you did it, when the reality is that our only role is to create the conditions for success and then let God move. Be still and know that I am God. Now, I'm not saying that for when we are being gardeners, when we are being guards of our inner, right? I'm not saying that that's easy work. I'm not just saying that, oh, we just sit back and relax and we let God do his thing. No, faith without works is dead, but our work is not actually what is perceived as the work. Putting 2 legs on this body and then adding a head and adding arms, that is not our work. Getting the seed to germinate, and then the roots come in, and then putting on bark and a trunk, and then making it have branches and then leaves, and then that is actually not our work. Our work is simply to create the conditions. And I say simply does not mean it's not hard work. So I just want to be clear that the work that we have to do is, how do I want to say this? It is hard work that creates ease. Yes, it is important. It is hard work that creates ease. The hardest work that we have to do in this world is actually the inner work. That is the hardest work. But if we do the inner work, then we manifest with ease. If we do the inner work, then we manifest with ease. All right. So I don't want people to take this, because I think Law of Attraction and The Secret, the movie, they went so far and just like, oh, just create a vision board and just lay back and watch your vision board come to fruition. Nah, that's it. That's part of it. That's a definitely important step. And that movie opened up the conversation, right? It opened up the conversation, but it did not complete the conversation. I'm sorry, but it did not complete the conversation. There is still work that we must do, but it is more inner work. It is the unseen, the intangible, the immaterial work that we actually have to do. And then we know that once that work is done, then through the law of correspondence, that what is happening inside of us, the work that is done inside of us, has to correspond and manifest accordingly. As above, so below, as within, so without. Okay? So I do not ever want people to get this confused as this is some lazy way of manifesting. No, there's real work, okay? This work is so hard that Jesus said, look, I'm not asking you to have the faith of a mango seed. I just need you to have the faith of a mustard seed, okay? I don't need you to have the faith of a mustard seed. That's gonna be way too much for y'all, okay? I just need you to have the faith of a mustard seed. If you could just do that, you're gonna see stuff pop off, okay? All right. So this is the work, y'all. This is the work. All right. Remember, we have a lot of people say that I'm broke, and broke is not who you are. That might be your feeling and experience right now, but it is not who you are. There are 3 types of buckets that we can be. There's the bucket that receives and loses. That's the person who calls himself broke. Then there's the bucket that receives only. And these are hoarders. These are people who are playing the game of money and who can actually hold or hoard the most money. And when money gets hoarded or held, that's actually what stops economies from growing, is when money stops flowing. Okay. And so we actually want to be the 3rd bucket, which is the bucket that is able to receive and give. It has a receptacle to receive and be poured into by some other source, okay? But then it also has a giving function added to it, and then that becomes a cyclical relationship, all right? So with this bucket, so our role, excuse me, they're drilling over there. Our role is to stop all leaks, okay? This is why we do this every single month, to increase our receiving or our bucket size. So some of us, our cup is running over, but we have a Dixie cup. You got a little Dixie cup that they give you at the dentist when you were kids, a little Dixie cup this big. Of course your cup gonna run it over. You playing too small. You playing too small. And I don't even want you to have a red party cup. I want you to have a bowl. I'm open to receive. I want your bowl to be like this, y'all, okay? And then from there, our giving function must be proportional to our receiving function, okay? If your giving function is too big, then you will, if you're receiving in the size of a Dixie cup, but you're giving like a dam, if you're giving a dam, some of y'all giving a dam too much. Y'all know I like wordplay and I'm corny. Some of y'all receiving like a Dixie cup and giving a dam. Y'all catch that? Receiving a Dixie cup and giving a dam. Give too damn much, okay? Unless you're receiving a reservoir, then there's no reason you should be giving a dam. Unless you are receiving a reservoir, there's no reason you should be giving a damn about other people's stuff right now. We need to increase the giving function, the receiver, so that we can give a damn, all right? That's divine revelation right there. That's what I love about the English language, y'all. I love the English language. I don't love England. I love the English language. John said, make a t-shirt. I don't give a damn. No, I want to give a damn, but I'm going to need a reservoir in order to give a damn. That's what a dam gives from, right? There's a reservoir of water, and then when it needs to be turned on, right? Then it gives a damn. All right. Valerie said, that is so corny. Yo, you know what I love about corny jokes? Whether they are good or bad, they both create laughter. If it's corny enough to make you laugh, then that's good. And if it's so bad that you don't want to laugh, you're still gonna laugh anyways, or at least I'm still gonna laugh at it. All right. So we just having fun, y'all. These teachers got to be fun. All right. So I want to run somebody's numbers through the millionaire map real quick, just to see and show you how quickly this can happen over 20 years. So is anybody willing to do a millionaire map with me right now? First person is, anybody want to do the millionaire math? Okay, Gwen, all right. Gwen, we're gonna put your salary growth rate at 2%, your investment rate at 20%. That's also your tax rate, because the reason your tax rate goes down is because as you start making money through capital gains and through assets as opposed to earned income, or what they call ordinary income, your tax rate will go down. Your investment return, we target 12%. So Gwen, what is, Gwen is retired. All right. This may be a little bit more challenging, Gwen, but we're gonna try it, okay? So Gwen, just ballpark, what's your starting balance? You don't have to give accurate numbers, but if you just want a gist of where you're at, what do you have in your bank account? Liquid cash. Okay, you said 550. Boom, Gwen out here doing it. And then how much is your pension, your Social Security? How much are you getting a year or a month? Right. Okay, 120. So Gwen is in a good situation. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all. 1 second. Yeah, baby. I swear I'm about to start a new business, y'all. Webinar in progress. It's like for the past whole week, everybody's like, oh, he on a webinar. He teaching truth. Let's go bug him. I'm talking about mail deliveries, random people ringing my doorbell in the middle. It's like no interruptions the whole rest of the day. But the moment I hit go on Zoom broadcast, people want to come, y'all. Too much truth out in these streets. All right. So Gwen is at 120. And so here's what's key to this millionaire map, okay? We, obviously taxes get taken out first by the government. Then we set aside our investment budget, okay? Our investment budget, we want it to be around what our taxes are. And then from there, then we live off the rest. We live off the rest. But what most people do is that they take their salary, taxes get taken out, then they create their living budget, and then they invest what's left after that. We don't do it that way. We create our investment budget first, and then we live off of what's left. So given where Gwen is at, she's living off of 60%, and actually given where Gwen is at, I'm gonna move her up to 25%. So she's living 50%, 25% going to taxes, 25% going to investment budget, and then she's living off of half, okay? $60,000 a year divided by 12 months is $5,000 a month, right? So when we look at how Gwen's financials unfold, you can see that she goes from 550, and I don't know, Gwen, how old are you? How old are you, Gwen? 62. So in 10 years, Gwen, well, first and foremost, Gwen is going to be a millionaire using this model, investing half of what she's getting in at 12%. She's going to be a millionaire by 66. Okay. So the quote unquote retirement age, even though she finished retired early, she's going to be a millionaire by 66 in 4 years. All right. Now, 10 years from now, when Gwen is 72, still looking good and feeling good, that's 2.3 million. All right. And if she keeps this pace and she stays healthy till 82, she takes care of herself and her body, right? Our body is a temple. We must take care of it. All right. If she does this and just stays on path, like, this is all math, y'all. Like, I'm not making this up. I'm not selling you a pipe dream or anything like that. Literally, if she follows this blueprint, 20 years from now, she has $8 million. I don't know how many kids Gwen has. I don't know what she wants for her legacy. I don't know if she wants to create a foundation. But if she just sticks to this game plan of living off of 50% of her income, which is pretty much guaranteed for the rest of her life, because it's her pension and her Social Security, and she's able to invest that money at 12% for the next few years, Gwen is going to be at $8 million. Gwen has a potential to hit not 7 figures, but 8 figures by the time she transitions into her next experience after this life. Gwen's goal is 8 figures, not 7. All right. So Gwen, we celebrate you. It is so beautiful to see. She said she's still not pulling in Social Security yet, so that's going to kick in eventually. So Gwen, we celebrate you. We are so happy for you to see that you stacked 550. We want to get as much of that into. You can accelerate this process, Gwen, if you take some of this 550 and actually make sure that if it's cash, if you invest that into assets, it will accelerate this process and actually get you to 8 figures even sooner. Okay, because 550 cash in the bank doesn't do us any good. It's only earning 0.03%. All right. So Gwen, you out here winning. We celebrate you, and we wish you the best. If Gwen, let's say her Social Security is going to kick in, but let's just say she has no salary growth because she's retired, right? Let's just see what that does. Takes it from 8 million. The salary growth didn't really have a huge impact. It just goes to 7.7, right? Now, Gwen, what market are you living in? What market are you living in? California. So Gwen lives in an expensive market. So let's say she's only able, let's say her taxes go up. No. Gwen, do you own? Do you own a single family or multifamily? How are you living right now? She's expecting to move, and that's what a lot of folks do. She's going to move to a less expensive market. So I'm not even going to run that. She's going to move to a less expensive market. Some of y'all are in bondage and to cities that are meant to keep people in bondage. Okay. Some of y'all are in bondage. This is why I had to leave New York. New York is going to keep folks in bondage. You can make 150 in New York and still feel like a slave, still be in the rat race. All right. Cool. So let's keep it pushing, y'all. So first thing is net worth. Got you, Gwen. Gwen is in the multifamily movement. So we're going to multiply that money a lot faster and get her to 8 figures faster. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So all we have to do is map it out, y'all. It's numbers. Numbers are law. Okay. We talking about working with these universal laws. Numbers are universal law. 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. And so this is why I build out these financial models for you, so you can just see. But again, this is get rich. This is get rich over time, y'all. This is get rich over time. Now, ultimately, what we want is we want assets. We want assets that will, money that grows over time without trading time. Ultimately, what we want is money that grows over time without us trading time for money, right? This is ultimately what we want. And so we were taught, go get the highest salary. And to be able to make a good salary is great. But the intention, once you get that great salary, is to try to turn it into assets so that you have money that is now growing over time without you actually trading time for the money. All right. So our net worth and our balance sheet, and a lot of people are bottom heavy on this, is that people have a lot of liabilities and no assets. Okay. And to be honest, I don't really count cash as an asset. Cash is meant to be transmuted and converted into a higher form of use. Okay. So cash is like borderline asset, similar to a single family home is borderline asset, like almost a liability. And if you've actually bought a single family home the wrong way, it's actually more of a liability than it is an asset. You have more money going out of your home every single month than you do coming in. Okay. So our net worth is our assets minus our liabilities. That equals our net worth. And so if you have it, I encourage everybody to go to juliangordon.com/accounting. If you already have it from previous months, and go ahead and open yours up. I'm gonna give you a second to do your balance sheet. We're only gonna do balance sheet. You can do your cash flows after. The cash flows will take a little bit longer. So when you go there, you're gonna click download, file, download as a Microsoft Excel, or you might be able to make a copy to your own Google Drive, okay? And on the balance sheet, what you're gonna do, and I've already done mine for this month. Let me see how much growth I had this month. I'm gonna show you how much growth did I have this month. My growth in my net worth this month was, I do mine on the first, y'all. My growth in net worth from June to July was 5.25%. The goal, the target is minimum 1%, because then you're growing at a 12%, a little over 12% per year. Last month, my growth was 5.25%, which is pretty great, okay? So this is what we want to evaluate. We just want to see that we made progress. Did your net worth go up? That's the focus, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to go check your checking account, your savings accounts, your 401k, your stocks. Those are your short-term assets. I want you to plug those numbers in. You're going to have to open up a Google browser. You're going to have to open up many different tabs. Unless you have like mint.com where all of everything, or I think it's personalcapital.com where all the tabs are, all your financials are pulled in to one. Unless you have that, you're gonna have to open up some tabs. All right. Then your long-term assets would be real estate or any companies that you invested in. Okay. Take some time to do that. All right, I'm just holding space for another 3 minutes. The balance sheet is a little bit faster. It's not as much detail for the cash flow statement that requires going through your most used checking account to really see what your numbers were for the past month, okay? Then you're gonna go down to liabilities. I'll cut this off. Let me duplicate this. You're gonna go down to liabilities. And your liabilities will include your student loan debt, okay? Your home mortgage, if you have a home, credit card debts, cars, medical, okay? These should be increasing every single month. Doesn't have to be astronomical. It's juliangordon.com/accounting. All right. So these numbers should be increasing month to month. Oh, and Jeanette, where would I put Tulsa Real Estate Fund? So Tulsa Real Estate Fund is going to be a long-term asset, and you'll put whatever came back on your K1 from last year, you'll put that number in this month. And because you're only getting K1s every year, that number will go across for the next 12 months. That number will go across for the next 12 months. That's how often they report. It's not like a stock. A real estate fund is not like a stock where you're going to get a new price every single month. Usually whatever's on your K1 from the year before will be what you're valuing that investment at for 12 months. And then you'll get a new K1, hopefully with a higher number on it, that'll last for the next 12 months. Buyback Baton Rouge, for those of you who invested in that, you would put that as a long-term asset. Again, however much you've invested, since we don't have a K1 yet, you put that there. You invested 40,000, then you put that, my investment is at 40,000. Now, of course, we're trying to multiply that money and it will be multiplied over a couple years. But for right now, you just hold it at whatever you initially put in. Whatever you're basically moving money from your cash, saying, I'm gonna take 40,000 off my cash, I'm gonna put that down here as a long-term investment now that has a greater opportunity for growth than my savings account. Mill says liabilities are decreasing. That's a beautiful thing. Good. All right, I'm gonna hold for one more minute, y'all. All right. Nicole says my net worth is growing, but it's because of my debt payments. Okay. So what is Nicole's other option, y'all, to get net worth to grow? What would I teach? Anybody know? You don't have to pay down your debt. Instead, we say, if I have cash, and I'll take that cash and acquire an asset that will pay down my debt for me. So there's a difference between good debt and bad debt, right? Bad debt is debt that you have to pay back, right? That's single family home, credit cards, student loans. That's debt that you have to pay back, right? And a lot of Dave Ramsey fans out here want to be debt free. Debt free does not mean financially free. Financial freedom is when your passive income is greater than your cost of living. So just because you're debt free, and a lot of people want to be debt free, that does not actually mean you're financially free. So ultimately, we want to acquire good debt. And good debt is debt that we take to acquire an asset like multifamily real estate. That asset not only pays for the debt payment, but it also leaves you with cash flow, it leaves you with appreciation, it leaves you with principal pay down, and it leaves you with tax savings. So now an asset is paying down your debt as opposed to you paying it down. So this is, I know some of you have been on that Dave Ramsey tip or just trying to be debt free. Debt free is not the goal, y'all. It's the goal long term. When you get to Gwen's stage, right? Gwen's age and stage, do I want you to be debt free? Yes. But now is the time to be on 100% offense, y'all. Some of y'all playing defense as if y'all got something to defend. Some of y'all playing financial defense as if you got a nest egg to protect. No, most of us need to be on offense right now, okay? And going hard on offense. You acquire something, and then you play some defense as you get to an age where you can't be as active, right? You can't be as focused. You want to lay back and chill a little bit. But you got to go acquire something first before you even playing defense. Some of y'all playing defense in the midst of your prime. Okay, ultimately you do need offense and defense to win championship, but some of y'all playing defense too early. You got to put some points on the board. You got to put some points on the board. All right. All right. So for homework, the next thing will be your cash flow statement or your income statement. Remember, income is not your salary. Your salary is not your income, okay? All right? Your salary is not your income. In a business, it's revenues minus expenses equals income, okay? Revenues minus expenses equal income. But Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So we're trying to get you to see yourself as a business. And so even if you have a job, even if you're an employee, remember, we are living in what I call the entrepreneur reality. The entrepreneur reality, where we're all already entrepreneurs, whether you're an employee or not. If you're an employee, you are an entrepreneur, but you just have one big client, and that is your employer. You're an entrepreneur, but you only have one big client, and that is your employer. And it's kind of dangerous to only have one client, okay? But let's say you do have a good client that you've been with and work not for, but that you work with for the past 5 years. What you get from them is your company's revenues. It is not your income, even though that's what the government wants to call it so that they can tax you on the full thing, okay? That is actually your revenues. Then you have your living expenses, right? And your true income is actually what's left over at the end of the month. It is not what you get paid by your employer. It is what is left over after your living expenses at the end of the month. And a lot of people have more month left over at the end of the money rather than having more money left over at the end of the month. All right? We need to reverse that equation around. All right? So what you'll do for your monthly cash flow is you'll go look at your debit card account that you use, and you'll get all of these numbers, okay? What did I actually get paid this month, right? Not what I signed. I'm talking about what money actually got deposited into my account. So you look at your deposits. Then you'll look at all of your expenses. Of course, rent is going to be consistent. Property taxes, they can fluctuate when you get reassessments. Insurance should be consistent. Utilities, power and trash should be consistent, but utilities and water and power, those are going to change. So you want to go get your exact utility bill for this particular month. Entertainment, you want to look at bucket those things that were entertainment related. And a lot of people, because of the quarantine, your entertainment bill has gone down, which actually is putting more money in your pocket. Okay. You know, some people were expecting to get married during the quarantine and they didn't have their wedding. And that couple is probably in a better financial position because they did not have their wedding, and all their guests who were going to spend $3,000 to go to the wedding. Everybody's in a better situation because it was never about the wedding in the first place. It was about the union of those two people. And now that they have $30,000, hopefully if they were able to get out of their contracts, they have $30,000 to start as the foundation of their family rather than $30,000 blown on one day for a Cinderella story. Okay. Now they can go acquire an asset, and then maybe in 5 years, if they still doing all right, then they can go do something. Like, I feel like here's how a wedding should go. Your wedding should be cheap. I mean, courthouse cheap, right? And then the longer that the marriage lasts, you should turn up a notch every single year that the marriage lasts. Your anniversary should turn up the longer the marriage lasts. But what a lot of people do is they turn up at the beginning. They turn up at the beginning, and they hope that that turn up at the beginning creates enough momentum for the marriage to last. Nah, we going courthouse cheap. Okay, we going tattoo on ring finger cheap. And every year that we last, we gonna turn up a little bit more. So that's true. When we 50 years in, we all the way turned up. Y'all with me on that? We all the way turned up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Because it's getting sweeter and sweeter, right? It's getting sweeter and sweeter. Now the marriage got something to look forward to. Oh, what we doing this year? We went to 3 countries last year. We going to 5 this year? Okay, we're gonna make this thing work. Yo, some of these industries, man, what do they call it? The wedding, what do they call it? The wedding industrial? No, that's a prison industrial complex. What do they call the wedding one? The marriage, it's not in marriage industrial complex. They got a word for it. Y'all know the word? No, there's some word for it. Anyways, expensive. That's the word. All right, cool. All right, so we got to know the difference between what's expensive and what's expansive. Okay, an expense is something where money leaves you and never comes back. Expansive is when you release money, but you're releasing it into an asset that is actually going to generate more money back to you. That's boomerang money, right? Eddie Murphy boomerang, that's boomerang money. I throw it out and it comes right back to me, okay, over time. I can't always predict when it's going to come back to me, but that's boomerang money. So there's a difference between expensive and expansive. Some people think things are expensive. And for instance, like a TV, some people might've got the 4th of July TV sale. You got this TV and you thought it was inexpensive because it was on sale, okay? You thought it was inexpensive because it was on sale. But what does a TV cost you more than anything? Let's say you got some 70-inch TV for $400. What is the number one thing that TV costs you, y'all? It's not money. It costs you time. It costs you time. That is the number one cost of TV. It is not the money that you pay for the device. It is the time that you're going to spend watching it wasting. There's no TV that can actually give you a great return on your investment. I mean, of course, nowadays we're watching YouTube videos that we're learning from and things of that nature on the TV screen. But in general, if you're just watching basic programming, Netflix and stuff like that, there's no return on investment on a TV. All right. So back to the monthly cash flow. You're going to look for there's some that should be consistent, like rent. Okay. Car insurance should be consistent, etc. If you pay that monthly instead of every 6 months. But there's going to be variable ones like entertainment, groceries, car maintenance, gas. Those are going to be fluctuating. So you want to go look at all of your expenses and put those in and see if you actually generated any cash flow this past month. Okay. If you did not create cash flow, then there's a leak in your financial system and we need to plug it fast. Okay. Because there's no way to climb out. If you are always spending more money than you're bringing in, you will never achieve financial freedom. Okay. So we got to either decrease your living expenses or increase your income. And we have to be very careful that if you increase your income, that your living expenses do not increase with them. Okay. We got to be very careful because that's what a lot of people do. Their salary increases, their income didn't increase, but their salary increases, then their cost of living also increases proportionally. And therefore there's no change in their income. Oh, I got a $20,000 raise, but now let's go on this trip. I'm going to buy some new clothes. We're going to eat out a little bit more. And now we just spent another $20,000. So my income is actually the same as it was last year, even though I got this $20,000 raise. Okay. All right. So, what do I want to end with? Poverty mindset versus wealth mindset. Poverty mindset is I'm too broke to invest. Wealth mindset is I invest until I'm broke. Okay. So the reason why stocks are good is because you don't, so the challenge for real estate for some people is that, oh, I need this huge down payment to acquire this one asset. With stocks, you can invest at whatever level you are willing to start at. Okay. So you can, if you only got $5 to invest, you can go buy $5 worth of Apple right now. Okay. So just be invested. There's no barrier to stocks. Ultimately, we want to get an asset in your last name that you fully control. But get started, because if you stay in the poverty mindset, you will never actually enter into wealth, right? So for me, I don't keep cash, y'all. Every time I get cash, just like a bank, I get rid of it. but not get rid of it as in spend it. I get rid of it as in I invest it and I circulate it towards ideals, ideas, individuals, and institutions that I believe in. Okay. So if you want to borrow money from me, you can't. I ain't got no money for you to borrow. Does my balance sheet look real nice? Does my cash flow statement look real nice? Yeah. But I ain't got no money for you to borrow because every time I get it, I'm actually deploying it. I'm employing it, deploying and employing it at higher and higher levels, right? So this is how I operate with money. And I'm just trying to teach it to you to the best of my ability. So what we want to do is we want to take, there's 3 ways to get money. There's 3 ways to get money. This is the ACE framework, okay? The first is through an employer, and this is hard work for others, okay? That's your salary, your 401k, and your pension. And for Gwen, that worked. Obviously, that worked for Gwen, right? She's retired now, and that worked for previous generations. That will not work for today's generation. It's a different game that we're playing, right? Social Security may not be there for my generation. Pension, that's like an old concept, all right? So that's the first way to get money, and that's what we are trained with the 8 to 3 school system, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. school system. It's just preparing you for the 8 a.m. or the 9 to 5 job, right? So the second way to get money is actually through customers. You don't need an employer. You can just go get customers, right? And now that's hard work for yourself, right? You get cash from the business that you run directly, your coaching practice, your speaking, your online courses, your beauty products, your catering business, etc., right? Your real estate agent, all right, when you sell homes. Or you can actually get customers for other people as an affiliate advertiser to help others get customers. So Dottie, she's here. She helps people with their digital social media ads. And so she helps other people get customers. Of course, she has to get, they are her customers, but she helps them get customers. And that's what keeps them coming back to her, okay? Then the top way, or no, not the top, not necessarily the top way, getting customers is really good, but then there's assets, right? And this is actually you doing little work. So this is an income property, and this is what I teach with the multifamily movement. Then there's an info product or a course, your stocks and bonds and dividend payments, your savings interest, which we don't really rely on because it's very, very low, or a business that you own but don't work in daily, right? This is ultimately what entrepreneurs truly want, is they want to own the business but actually not operate the business, right? So if you have employment money, you want to either take that money and buy assets, right? Or you take that money and you go build or buy a customer base. And then you take the money that you're getting from there and you go build or buy assets. So for me, my journey was I worked in nonprofit. After business school, I worked in nonprofit for 1.5 years. I took that money and started going and getting my own customers, right? Started teaching workshops in my living room in New York, driving school for life, helping people find their purpose, started speaking at colleges, started speaking at companies. And then I took that money and I started buying assets like my first property in Brooklyn, the one in New Orleans here, Oakland, etc. Right? So I did the double hop. But if those of you who were like, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur, that's not my thing, then you want to take the money that you have, that you're getting from an employer, and you want to go buy or build assets with it. All right. So we're going to go into our visualization, and it's our 2 Comma Club visualization. And this is what we want our bank account to look like. We want our bank accounts to look like a run-on sentence. How many want your bank account to look like a run-on sentence? Just a hella commas. Not hella commas, a lot of commas, heavenly commas. An abundance of commas, right? That's what I want my bank account to look like, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to take this in. I want you to take this in, y'all. Take this in. Look at it. You open up your phone, and this is what you see as your balance, right? This is what you see at your balance. You woke up today. You saw this as your balance, and I just want you to embrace that moment. Everybody just take a deep breath in and just like, smile. Look at your account, y'all. You got 1.5 million in your checking, and you got 100,000 in your personal savings as your emergency fund. Just accept that as your reality right here and right now. Now I know a lot of limiting beliefs are coming up. How is that gonna be possible? I got so much debt. I just want 100,000 checking. I don't even need 100,000 emergency fund. How am I ever gonna do that? I don't make that much money. I'm about to retire. My health won't allow me to do that. I don't have a business idea. I know all these doubts are coming up. I got 5 kids. I got a whole bunch of student loans. We're in the midst of a recession. How is this gonna happen? I got foreclosed on. All these fears and doubts and worries and excuses are coming up. I know. Just let them pass by. Just let them pass by. They are not your truth. They are temporary conditions based on the old you. The old you created that, not today's you, not the you that goes to financial church on a weekly basis, not the you who was mindful of their money, who does their monthly accounting. That's the old you, okay? The new you is right here and right now. So just let all those excuses fall away, okay? They blaming the old you. That's the old you, okay? We here, we right now. And this image that you see, we are trying to bring, we're not trying. We are going to bring, we're not even going. We are bringing this future reality into the present moment, right here and right now. I'm gonna tell you a little trick, y'all. I'm gonna tell you a little trick. You need to get the full feeling before you get the fulfillment. You need to get the full feeling before you get the fulfillment. Okay? A lot of people think that, oh, I need to get the fulfillment. I need to have it and then I'll feel happy. I need to have it and then I'll feel wealthy. No, it's the exact opposite, y'all. You get in the full feeling, you get into that frequency, and guess what? It will start to unfold as your experience. You don't wait for God to get in motion and then you have an emotion. No, you have the emotion, which you can have right now. We can accept this as our reality right now. We can feel wealth and abundance in our life right now. And then God's motion follows our emotion. What is emotion? E-motion, energetic or electrical motions, the unseen. We can feel that right here and right now. We don't have to wait until something happens to feel it. The exact opposite is true. You feel it and then it happens. We've been manifesting or seeking to manifest backwards for so long. And this is why it's so unfulfilling when you've achieved something and you got something that you always desired, because you realize that it's never the thing that you want. There's usually some feeling behind that thing that you wanted and could have accessed long before, without all the strife, without all the struggle, without all the strain, without all the sleeplessness, without all the stress. You can feel abundant and wealthy right now when you remember that you are a child of God. If I'm a millionaire, y'all, is my daughter a millionaire? If I'm a millionaire, is my daughter a millionaire? Yes. So if you are a child of God and God is an infinite source of all, are you a millionaire right here and right now? Yes. This undebatable. If I'm a millionaire and my daughter is in my will, then she is a millionaire right now. She may not be aware of it, and I try to make her aware of it, what she's going to step into when she's ready to receive, because she's not ready to receive at this moment in time. But she is already a millionaire whether she knows it or not. Just off the life insurance alone, she's a millionaire. Something happened. When I die, she's getting paid. Okay? So if we are all children of God and we are in God's will, right? Will as in a legal document, as in a covenant, and will as in terms of alignment with the Mother, Father, God, acting in alignment, then guess what? We are all beyond millionaires. I don't even know what to call that. When you are the offspring and in the legacy and line of infinite supply, You are beyond a millionaire. A millionaire is pennies to infinite. So this is what we want to embrace and stand in that truth. That truth. Okay? So as you look at this image one more time, I want you to write this down really quick, and we're going to wrap up. Okay? Where are you? When you looked at this image on your phone, 1.5 million in your checking account, 100,000 in your savings account as your emergency fund. Okay, where were you? Were you just waking up out of bed? What did you see? I want you to capture every sensory thing that you see. Did you have a window looking out at the ocean, right? Did you wake up were you in a white robe? What color were your sheets? Did you have art in your room? Who was next to you? Okay. How did you feel? How's your face look? Is your hair done? Are you rushing somewhere? Are you going to work? Do you have a job? Do you have a company? What is your experience when you saw this? Just take a snapshot of that moment. What 3 words describe your self-image at that moment in time? Powerful, powerful, powerful. Loved, complete, whole, aligned, peace. What are you eating, or what are you about to eat? You about to go eat some fruit? About to eat a burger? Where are you going to be in terms of your health consciousness when you step into this as your reality? Are you fasting? How do you start your day? You about to go do yoga? You about to meditate? You meditate in a special room in your home office? You going to a class? What are your plans this evening? What you gonna do today? Is it a Saturday? Is it a Saturday? Is it a weekday? What are you doing today? You got $1.5 million in your account. 100,000 is emergency fund. What are you doing today? Are you still earning money today? Is your money working for you? Did you get paid today? Are you off that bi-weekly pay schedule? Or are you actually getting paid daily now? What does your body look like? Look at your waistline. Look down right now. Look at your waistline. Okay? Is it different than the one you have right now? How's your skin look? How's it feel? How's your hair? Who are you at this moment? There's you today, and we wholly accept who you are today. There's no rejection of who you are today. You are getting better. But who are you in this moment? Okay? Who is with you? Did you wake up next to somebody? Are your kids around? Are they grown? You got to see your best friend? Is your partner your best friend? What's on your agenda today? And then what do you plan to do with this money? You just gonna let it sit and look at it? Or do you have intentions for it? You starting another company? You about to go buy some real estate? You giving? You donating? You paying for your kids' college? What are you gonna do with this money? You just gonna look at it on the phone? Just let it sit there and smile? Okay? Right now, we are capturing the conditions. We are capturing. In a second, baby. In a second. I'm in a meeting. Baby, wait. Just wait. About 5 minutes, okay? We're capturing the conditions. We're capturing the feeling. That reality is closer than you know. Imagine being enslaved in Maryland for 40 years. And after 40 years, somebody told you that the Mason-Dixon line was right there on the other side of that hill. Literally, you could see it. But for this entire 40 years, you didn't know. You didn't know that the Mason-Dixon line was like right there. And so you just stayed enslaved because you just assumed that the Mason-Dixon line was just far off somewhere beyond, what do they say, beyond yonder or something like that. So you never went for it. You just assumed. But now you know that it's actually closer than you ever imagined. This is what we are doing. You see, time is a man-made thing. Okay? We are actually on a continuum. Time does not really exist in God's mind. It didn't say God created a clock. Nope. That's not how God creates. God doesn't have a timeline. Okay? So man made up time to try to understand God. We are on a continuum of here and now, here and now, here and now. If somebody asks you, where are you? What will the right answer always be? What will the right answer always be? Where are you? Here. If somebody says, what time is it? What will the right answer always be? Now. Time is fictitious. It's this linear thing that we made up as human beings. And of course, in native cultures, we made it cyclical, understanding the clock and the calendar and things of that nature. If it is cyclical, it's more cyclical, like a DNA spiral, right? Going up, spiraling up, if anything. But it is not this linear thing. It is not this linear thing, okay? And so we are on a continuum of here and now, here and now, here and now. And what we just captured was a moment that we are seeking to bring, that seemed like a future moment that we are trying to bring into the here and now. We are bringing it in the here and now and feeling it. Knowing that, one, it is possible, and then holding the faith, believing, and then getting ready to receive that moment. There are some of us who have blockages in being able to receive that moment. Some of us who can't imagine money working for us, can't imagine not working hard. Some of us who can't imagine living on the beach because you've been stuck in New York and in buildings for so long. Some of us who can't imagine not rushing out the door at 8 a.m. to go somewhere, to be somewhere, to get in traffic. Like some people, there's just a blockage there because of the patterns that we've lived out. But those blockages don't have to be true. They're not true. And you know they're not true because there's other people who are having the experience that you desire. So that does not have to be your reality. Okay? So what we want to do to conclude today is we want to bring heaven down to earth. And we want to establish our goals for this month. And you can choose one of these. You don't have to do all four. And the first one is I'm going to decrease expenses by a specific dollar amount by doing a specific action. Or I'm going to increase revenues by this amount by doing this. Or I'm going to decrease my liabilities by this amount by doing this. Or I'm going to increase my assets by this amount by doing this. So I want you to choose one for now. If you want to do all four, you can. Okay? Oftentimes when we set too many goals, we accomplish none of them. So I'd rather you set one and accomplish that one than to set four and think, oh, look at me, I got 4 goals and not accomplish anything. All right. Teresa said, I'm going to decrease my liabilities by $703.89 by paying off 2 debt and paying the minimum towards 5 others. Beautiful. All right. All right. And then our closing affirmation for today is I'm a millionaire. This is the one that we come back to over and over and over again. Mia said, I'm going to increase my revenues by 5K by collecting money from my contracts and closing insurance clients. Beautiful. So our affirmation is I am a millionaire, and I want you to read it with me. 1, 2, 3. I am already a millionaire in my mind. I may not see it, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I am accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I am meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. I'll repeat it one more time. I am a millionaire. I am already a millionaire in my mind. I may not see it, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I am accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I am meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. All right. So with that, we are going to wrap up with our giving. For those of you who are new, we give different here, right? We give different here. This is not for a building fund. This is not for my private jet. I do not receive any money whatsoever from the financial church. I have enough on my own. This is a space in my life where I just give freely. So none of this comes to me whatsoever. The way we give here is that we give to a member who is in financial need at this moment, or we give to a nonprofit organization that we believe is doing good or God's work. Okay. So right now our account balance is at $2,351. Last week we gave out $800. Let me show you this. We operate in full transparency here. So I'm actually going to show you our account balance. I want you to, and I try to get the money out within 48 hours of it being given. So I'm not holding it. I'm not making no interest on it. No, that is not what's happening. I try to give as quickly as I receive it. Okay. So let me share with you our exact account balance so that you know. Where is it at? New share. All right. So here is our account balance. Last week we gave $800 to Young Enrichment Services, recommended by Alana. We gave Rip the Bandage, recommended by Tiffany. We gave Socking It by Lalu, and we gave to endhomelessness.org. So we gave $800 last week, and our account balance right now is $2,351. In chat, if there's anybody who needs support right now in this community who has been coming consistently and developing their wealth consciousness, this is a no judgment space. There's no shame here. We actually honor you for being a demonstration of being able to receive. So many people here have been givers for so long, and this is an opportunity where you actually need somebody to lean on, and you get to lean on the Faith Fund created by the financial church spontaneously. We started this on 4/12, and we've given over $4,300 over the past 2 months, 4, 5, 6, over the past 3 months, and we've received $6,651. Our goal is to give all this money away. We give about $600 to $800 away every single week, but we don't just give it to a depleting something that is going to die. We give it to ideals, individuals, institutions that we believe in. So if there's anyone, if you're ready to give, there is my Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. Those are 3 options. Yeah, we keep giving and the fund never runs out. We are demonstrating the economic principles, the spirituality principles that we teach here, is that when you keep on giving, and you tap into the right source, the infinite source, it continues to supply. So we are so grateful to be able to give this way, all of us giving at the same time. I also want to make this clear is that we don't care how much you give. If you can only give $1 today, we want participation more than about an amount, okay? There's no dollar figure that is too small. In fact, there's no cents. There's no penny figure that's too small. If you can only give 25 cents, so be it. But we do want as much participation because we believe that giving is a spiritual practice. And if 25 cents is what feels good in your heart and you can give 25 cents, We just want this. We want participation. This is the exercise more so than anything. It's not about the amount. We've had people give 150. We've had people give $3. We accept it and receive it and give thanks for it just the same. Okay? That's how we operate here. So if there's anybody who needs support right now, let me know. I'll hold for another 20 seconds. There's no shame here. We don't care about the backstory. We already know that was the old you. We know that a new you is being created right here in this moment. The fact that you're here this Sunday already demonstrates that. The old you didn't have this financial church teaching, but the new you does. So we know that you're going to operate at a different level of consciousness, wealth consciousness. If you want to give, you can go Cash App at Julian Gordon, Venmo at Julian Gordon, or PayPal. All right. It's there at the bottom of the screen. All right. So what I'll do right now is, if you have a nonprofit, that you care about deeply and that you know does good work. So Gwen is recommending donate for the horticulture. So I'm going to put that as our first organization, and I'll accept 2 more. And I'll get that money out by Monday. Diana, go ahead. Thank you, Will. I appreciate that, brother. Brother to brother mentoring program. Diane, if you can go get the URL really quickly, that'll make it easier for me. And then Tanel. So those will be our 3 organizations. Niel White, if you can go get the Color of Hope URL for me and put it in chat. Those will be our 3 organizations for the month, or the week, actually. We give every single week. Yo, yeah, we give every single week. I'm tripping. And then Michelle will please share that one next week, okay? So I'm just gonna wait for Tanel and Diana to give me the URLs. If I don't hear from them, then I will take Michelle's this week. All right, Diana and Tanel, you still there? All right, I got Diana's and Tanielle, you got the URL. We're gonna close out, we're just waiting on you. 5, 4, 3, 2, there we go. All right, beautiful. So we got the organization that we're giving to this week. I thank everyone who has given. Again, we focus on participation more so than amount. So I want to thank the Coffee Reality Group. Thank Andrea Hall. Thank Deirdre. Thank Monroe. Thank Carmelita. Thank Shireen, Queen Shireen. Kingdom Investors Academy. Thank you. Craig Green. Thank you. Tiffany. Thank you. Dottie. We thank you so much. Melinda. Thank you so much. We appreciate each and every one of you for your contributions. We know that as we transmute this economic energy, this thing that we call money, stored energy, we know that it will be multiplied in the world. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here, giving your most valuable resource, which is your time, to your own development, your own growth, and your own financial and wealth consciousness. I wish you all an amazing, amazing week ahead. And please finish your cash flow statement for the month. Finish your cash flow statement for the month. We want to keep it as close to the first of the month as possible so that we establish that rhythm. It is up to you to be the watchtower, to be the overseer of your financial life. We will all have to account for what we did with the resources that we were blessed with. All right. So with that, I want to say goodbye, everybody. For those of you who are in the multifamily movement, I will talk to you in 2 hours. All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.